What are your plans for the future? Well, oftentimes Christians have looked to Jeremiah 29:11 and hoped that God's plan for their life would be fulfilled. And certainly that's a good thing to desire. But the context of Jeremiah 20:11 is quite different than I think many of us realize. The verse goes like this, and you're familiar with it, I'm sure. For I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans for welfare and not for calamity, to give you a future and a hope. Well, we can all pray for that. We can all hope for that, can't we? But the context was that the Israelites were in exile. And they were in exile as a result of their own disobedience. It's amazing how our choices do matter and that there are consequences to our choices. And so the prophet Jeremiah declares God has a good plan for your life, for the Israelites. And it is a plan to give them hope and a prospering future. Sounds good, right? That's why we quote the verse so often. Well, the thing is that before he shares this promise in verse 11, he gives them a directive from God in verse 7. He says in verse 7, seek the peace and the prosperity of the city to which I have carried you into exile. Pray to the Lord for it, that is, for the city, for those that have you in bondage. Because if it prospers, that is, if those that have you in exile prosper, you too will prosper. Wow. That's not at all what the Israelites wanted to hear. They wanted to be told that they were going to go home and be delivered from exile. They wanted to be told that their suffering was going to end. And instead, God's plan was for them to stay right where they were and to help prosper the nation that actually enslaved them. And then came the biggest blow of all. And you can find it in verse 10 if you'd like to read along. God says that he would fulfill this promise after 70 years are completed in Babylon. So let's get this straight. They're exiled in Babylon. God's heard their prayer, and he has a plan for their life. A plan for welfare and a plan not for calamity, and a future and a hope. But it's not going to be fulfilled till after 70 years of captivity. That's not what they wanted to hear, and that's often what we don't want to hear. You see, this meant that none of the current generation of the Israelites were ever going to return home. What a crushing thing to be told. You see, God knows the plans that he has for us, and ultimately, he will give us a glorious future. But as we walk out our lives in this crazy earth and these unfortunate circumstances that we often find ourselves, let's remember that the best growth comes through persevering through trials. Not what we wanted to hear either, is it? It's not escaping from them entirely. In fact, when you and I learn perseverance, we find surprising joy. What a hard thing to learn. Which brings us back. What are you currently going through? What are you facing? You see, it's in the midst of your suffering that you can cling to Jeremiah 29:11. But cling to it for the right reason. Not as an escape verse. Not as a false hope that God will take away your suffering. But cling to it in the truth of the gospel. In the gospel confidence that he, Jesus Christ, will give you hope in the midst of whatever it is you're facing. In other words, begin to experience life where you are and not where you want to be. Don't postpone living. Begin to experience your life in Christ now. Till next time, please subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, and share these videos with your friends. We hope you were encouraged and blessed by this video. We would love to have your feedback and interact with you. If you have a testimony that relates to today's discussion, please share it below in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so that each time we upload a video that you'll be notified. Be sure to check out our blog on our website, which is in the description below. And until next time, may you experience life as God intended.